Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Angèle Cristina, a relationship and empowerment coach, and today we're going to look at some posts regarding setting boundaries in relationships. Are you ready? First post. Difference between setting a boundary and being controlling. Where do you draw the line? When I tried to set a boundary regarding me saying no to certain things, my boyfriends want to counter with saying him setting a boundary is me not talking to someone in public that he is uncomfortable with. I don't think that sounds like a boundary, but it feels like her setting a boundary upset him and made him go all protective on her or something. Let's see what the comments say. I think you can't set a boundary for someone else. Agree. Your boyfriend is setting a boundary about who you are allowed to talk to? Question mark? I would definitely say that this is controlling or actually just acting childish. Yeah, I think it is slightly controlling, a bit manipulative and insecure on his end, because to pick who you can speak to whilst you are in a relationship is not healthy, and once you start limiting who you are able to speak to, most probably the rebel in the person wants to speak to that person they are not allowed to speak to even more. I also don't disagree that this might be a childish attitude. Another comment says, the way I distinguish it is that your boundaries aren't for other people. They're for you. They're about what you're willing to deal with, more so than controlling another person's behavior. Agree. A good partner will be considerate of your boundaries, but ultimately you can't make anyone do anything. Also agree. For example, let's say I'm not okay with play fighting. If I tell my partner that and they initiate a play fight, then it's my responsibility to enforce my boundary. Yes, absolutely true and agree. I need to stop them and tell them that it's not okay with me. Maybe my partner will listen, even though they love to play fight. Or maybe they'll decide that play fighting is too important for them to give up, so we'll have to walk our separate ways. I love the simple example with play fighting, but it's very clear what boundaries mean to this person, and I agree. If they continue to try to play fight with me, then I have to be willing to walk away. That's what a boundary is. It's a line that you won't accept being crossed. Applause here. Very nice, crisp and clear and to the point. One more comment says, the key difference is the locus of power. Setting boundaries is about taking control of yourself, your reactions, and your choices. Controlling is trying to tell other people what they can and cannot do. Yeah, and I don't feel we have the right to tell anyone what they can and cannot do. The tension you've identified is that one could argue that setting a boundary about what a person will and won't tolerate can be viewed as trying to tell other people what they can and cannot do. You set boundaries on yourself, not on other people. In your example of not talking to someone in public that he is uncomfortable with is controlling because he's telling you what you can and cannot do. He's saying that he won't engage with one of your friends with whom he's not comfortable is setting a boundary. If he doesn't like your friends, then he can say he won't go out with them. Telling you that you can't go out with them is controlling. I like the clarity this person is bringing. Of course, ultimately, you can split hairs and become pedantic about how something is phrased to spin it. But that itself is a sign of being controlling and manipulative. It isn't honest communication, which is what we're looking for, but a means of influencing others and reflect a type of calculation and scheming to get what you want. I love how this comment has been broken down bit by bit for clarity and understanding to reply to the post. I really agree with how they are bringing this point out, and I mostly agree with the fact that we cannot tell other people what to do, but we can tell them what annoys us and set a boundary against that happening. Do you agree? Next post says, depressive girlfriend, 34 female, struggling with boundaries with my boyfriend, 33 male. I'm 34 female, trying to finish my PhD dissertation, good luck, and it's kicking my butt right now. I deal with depression and chronic pain, I'm sorry to hear that, and daily functions can often be hard. 6 months ago, after spending a year in complete isolation due to COVID, I entered into a relationship with my current boyfriend, 33 male. He's trying to get back up on his feet after the pandemic and currently lives with his mom. As a result, my apartment has inevitably become the place for us to hang. He is not very good at taking care of himself or doing chores, and I find myself burdened with more of those responsibilities whilst hosting him. Sweetheart, you're not his mom. He's sensitive and caring, and being with him has definitely brightened up my days. However, as I face more and more professional pressure, it has become difficult to cope with the increased housework. Seriously, men, please learn how to do housework. It's not something for a woman to do. It's not. We haven't gone out in a long time, and he is often too tired to do anything but order in and watch TV. Comfort zone calling much? I also need more uninterrupted alone time to really focus, but he likes to be in frequent touch. There are weekends when I just can't spare any time, but he insists that we need to meet. Sounds like he's not understanding the weight of your degree here. However, did you tell him? Let's see. I live alone, and being an immigrant, don't have much of a community living in close vicinity outside of my partner. Even as I know I need to work, I feel extremely lonely and end up giving in. Giving in because of loneliness is not a healthy boundary. You need to give the love to yourself. I know I should have better boundaries. I'm glad you are aware of that. But sometimes it just becomes about meeting a basic need for socialization. I don't think a partner should be the person for socialization. I'm not speaking now during pandemic. I feel that this is after the pandemic, as you explained in the post, so we can discuss about socialization. But if there's needs that he needs and you are currently studying and you can't meet his needs, I don't think you should be the sole person to meet these needs. What about his friends? Where are his buddies? You should ask for a boundary that you are currently doing a dissertation, this is huge for you and very important, and that you would like him to respect your alone time to focus on it, and in the meantime he can very freely go and meet his friends if he wants to. What about that? The post continues saying, recently when we were talking on the phone, I told him about an upcoming deadline that I was struggling to meet. His response was, oh shit. How will you manage? This isn't the first time he has reacted this way, and I've told him before that it is unhelpful and makes me feel even worse than I already do. Sounds like there's a lack of support in this relationship. Do you feel support is an important part for a relationship to work? I always try to be encouraging when it comes to his work, and it hurts me when he reacts this way. I need support and encouragement, but this kind of response feels very detached, as if he were just a neutral observer watching my misery unfold. Have you asked for more support, though? Well, this time I felt the need to lay down clear boundaries and ask him not to contact me till I was done. Okay, it's a bit extreme, but maybe you needed to do that. He took it badly and claimed that it made him feel like he was bothering me, whereas it was nothing more than a light-hearted comment on his part. Light-hearted? Did he use that word? I don't feel any lightness in these chats between them, to be honest. The relationship is still new, so I'm trying to figure it all out and was wondering if there's any advice on how to improve communication between us. If the relationship is still new, I appreciate you asking him to back off and give you space to continue focusing on your dissertation. In short, I struggle with boundaries, but now that I try to enforce them, my boyfriend is mad at me. I think boundaries are a very sensitive topic to those who are not used to having boundaries in the first place. If you are the first person in this person's life to set a boundary, they are not going to like it and they are going to react in a very protective manner. Maybe they're going to react like they're going to be afraid of losing you or be much more close-knit on you and put you in a bulb. People react differently to new things. However, setting boundary is a very, very healthy thing to have in your life, not only in romantic relationships, but in all the relationships in your life, so that you are always respecting yourself and putting yourself first most of the time. And one comment as a response to that says, a more serious talk is probably required, and to be very clear what you are struggling with. Yep, a serious heart-to-heart talk, my famous advice. Not sure what you said during your recent talk with him though. If he still brushes it aside, perhaps it's good to reconsider the relationship. Yeah. Reason is, for new relationships, you would expect the other half to be more sensitive to the other. Not only in recent, in all relationships, you should be sensitive to the other and respectful. If he's like that during the honeymoon period, imagine what it's like when he gets more comfortable with the relationship. Good point though, yeah. And you guys are in your 30s, not teens. So I think it's reasonable to expect some mature understanding and adulting. Yes, I think it's very reasonable to expect that. And if you can't expect that, lay the grounds and ask for respect. Edit. I don't mean this as an ultimatum or something negative, but could it be the wrong time for a relationship? Would you consider setting aside the relationship temporarily until you finish your studies and then revisit if you guys are compatible after that, if he's willing to wait? Just thoughts to consider. I like that. If this person's current priorities are the dissertation, it's not a bad idea to put the relationship to the side, especially if it's new. Focus on your main target, on what's really important to you right now, and then circle back, and if they are still interested, perhaps you can meet up and see where they are and if they're interested in your progress and how you're feeling, and if not, thank you, next. Before we move on, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel, like this video, ding that notification bell so that I will continue bringing more of these fun, entertaining and valuable videos for you. So instead of another post for this topic of boundaries, since I treasure this topic so much and it's very close to my heart with my coaching clients, I wanted to share some tips of mine that you can take notes of when it comes to setting boundaries in relationships, in any relationships. Keep that in mind. My first tip is saying no is an answer. I meet too many people who dislike saying no, who feel really bad to say no and respect and put themselves first. No is a full word and you should try using it more so that when you do, you are placing yourself first, honoring and respecting yourself, and in that process, ask others to also respect you back. My next tip is a phrase that you can use if an uncomfortable situation arises. I need to think about it. I'll come back to you. That is a phrase that you can use when you don't know what to say and you feel weird to reply there and then. I feel sometimes we feel obligated to give someone else an answer, but really and truly you don't have the clarity at hand. So a phrase like, I need time to think about it, I'll get back to you, is a really good phrase for you to use and keep up your sleeve for future times. And one more phrase from me to you to use in any uncomfortable situation, especially when it comes to certain topics that you are uncomfortable discussing, is, I am not comfortable discussing that. Please do not discuss it with me. I feel this is a really beautiful phrase to use to put your foot down and ask the other person to respect you. Sometimes people just chat about things, and if we don't tell them that we are uncomfortable, they won't even realize. So the use of this phrase might be handy if you are in a situation where you are hearing topics that are making you feel uncomfortable and you don't like it. And instead of walking out of the room, you set this boundary, use this phrase, and put your foot down. So the phrase was, I am not comfortable discussing that. Please don't discuss it with me. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this episode about setting boundaries in relationships. I hope you realize how important these are to put in place to honor and respect yourself. Before we go, I'd like to invite you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ding that notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload one of these videos. Before we go, my Maltese word for today means island, gzira. Gzira. Don't forget to drop in the comments below your native word for the word island. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Don't forget, you do you, because no one else matters.